And welcome to CBS Sports HQ. For the first time in 50 years, the Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions, 31-20. And how about the second half, specifically the fourth quarter, 21 straight points for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
First time in 50 years for the Chiefs. First time ever for Andy Reid. You'll now be able, when he's inducted into the Hall of Fame as a coach, say he was a Super Bowl champion. And you could see the outpouring of emotion for him as the Chiefs have now won the Super Bowl over the 49ers. Let's take a look how the whole thing went down in Miami. Here we go. First Super Bowl ever where both teams' primary color is red. Miami's given us a lot of great Super Bowl moments, from Joe Namath to the last time the 49ers won the Super Bowl when they defeated the Chargers in the highest scoring game ever. Jimmy G says, let's get it going. Let's get it on. Pat Mahomes says, I'm feeling good. I've never thrown an interception in the postseason. Hakeem, he's never, ever thrown an interception in the postseason. You want to jinx him again? He's never, ever thrown an interception in the postseason.
Never, ever.
Never thrown an interception in the postseason.
Never threw more than 2 all season long.
Until now. Okay, there you go. So that happens. Patrick Mahomes struggled early. That snapped a string of 163 pass attempts. You mentioned the fact that first time, Pat Mahomes threw 2 in this game, first time since week 11 of 2018 that happened. 49ers taking advantage. Raheem Mostert cut by 6 teams, finds the end zone in the Super Bowl. San Francisco, late in the third quarter, up 20-10. At that point, they still hadn't even punted yet. They were having their way. Patrick Mahomes, you got to find a way, son. You're the best player in the world. This is what you got to do. 7 minutes left, down 10 points, 3rd and 15. It's starting to look hopeless. Heave, hope, catch, Tyreek Hill. They're down to the 20, and there's life here, Hakeem. There is life. Then, you know what's coming next right here. George Kittle, pass interference in the end zone. So, there you go. That would result in a 1-yard touchdown run. So now, well, here it is, 1st and goal. We're going to get that. We're going to get a little pass to Travis Kelce. Bang! Touchdown. And now it's 2017. And you could feel sort of the momentum right there. Go all the way over.
That's my guy, Travis Kelce.
Where's he from?
Cleveland.
There you go.
Kyle Juszczyk. Now, great. He's from Northeast Ohio, so I like him too.
He scored early in the game. That was it. So now, Chiefs trying to find a way. Still a long way from having this thing in the bag. They're down 3, less than 4 minutes to go. Mahomes with a beautiful throw to Sammy Watkins. One of the few really good throws Mahomes had today. Today was a struggle. It's like a pitcher in baseball. You know, his dad was one of the big leagues for a long time. That doesn't have his best stuff, but still finds a way to get outs and do what he needs to do. Here he finds a way to get to Damien Williams. Touch-up. Controversy here. Did he get over? Did he not get over? I almost feel like whatever team you were rooting for, that's the way you felt like this play went. I would not feel good about it if I was a 49er fan. I would feel just fine about it if I was Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Call stand. So now, 49ers have to come back, 3rd and 10, less than 2 minutes to go. Jimmy G? Nope. Emmanuel Sanders did have a step on the defense there. I mean, if that was a perfect throw, it's a touchdown. That's an all-time throw. He needed it, didn't have it.
Mahomes might have completed that throw.
Well, you know what? A lot of guys might have. So 4th and 10. Got to get it done. Here we go. Probably didn't get it off. Probably should have had a delay of game there, which I'm sure they would have liked to gladly taken. And then it becomes a rugby scrum. Doesn't matter. There you go. But it's not over yet because the 49ers have all 3 timeouts, and they have a minute and a half to go. But they got to get a stop first. You got to get a stop first. They're not getting a stop first. Damian Williams, see ya.
Over 100 yards.
Bye. 104 yards on the day. Chiefs outscore the Niners 21-0 in the 4th quarter to win their first Super Bowl title in 50 years. Pat Mahomes, congratulations. You better find out your ring size. You better fight for your right to party, Travis Kelce. You fought for your right to be a champion. You know they're going to love it there. Jump up, and get down. Jump. Big Red has one now. 31-20. Kansas City covers the spread they were given 2. Under comes in, but pretty darn close. 53, 54 the total. It actually opened at 51.5, went up to 55. So really at no time did it get all the way to 51. So the under was the play here. The numbers will look okay for Mahomes, but it was not a good day for him. End up with 29 rushing yards after having 44 at one point in the game, but 3 straight kneel downs where he's wanted to run the clock out and backed up. I only point that out because his total rushing for the game was 30.5, and we all had it under. Hallelujah. I believe. Chiefs, champs.
You know I'm happy as well because I had Chiefs money line.
Yep.
All right. Patrick Mahomes, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Also had that rushing touchdown. Dude in his 3rd season in the NFL, 2nd as a full-time starter, and he leads the Chiefs to their first Super Bowl title in 50 years. The 21 points in the fourth quarter ties a Super Bowl record. Now, I want to point this out, okay? Teams leading by 7 or more at the end of the 3rd quarter had been 33-4 in the Super Bowl. Now 33-5 because San Francisco had a 10-point lead, and here comes Kansas City. 21 points in the fourth quarter as they win 31-20. The Chiefs 8-0-1 against the spread in their past 9 games. They trailed all 3 postseason games by at least 10 points. They complete the biggest comeback of all by winning Super Bowl 54.
Well, let's get the flavor for what's going down just outside the stadium. Chris Hassel, our 2-time Super Bowl champion, he knows what it's like to be on that sideline.
Yeah, he does.
Jumping up and down, throwing the Gatorade on your coach. Brian McFadden, guys, take it away.
You know, as you guys know, it's not as glamorous as it looks. Here's how fast Kansas City came back. Bryant McFadden and I knew we needed to leave our seats to get out here to our platform at the end of the game sometime early on in the fourth quarter. We got up. San Francisco had the ball in a 10-point lead. By the time we got out here, and we were watching on our phones the whole way, Kansas City had the lead. It was just like that, and just like it has been all postseason for KC.
No lead is safe against the Kansas City Chiefs when they have Pat Mahomes at the quarterback position. And that was a concern for me with San Francisco, you know, preparing for this ball game and, you know, studying and analyzing different things about the strengths and the weaknesses from either team. I had concerns about San Francisco's defense being able to sustain the high level of play. They started off playing real good football. They had success against Pat Mahomes. He didn't look comfortable. But in the fourth quarter, there lies the opportunity to show your greatness. And Pat Mahomes showed his greatness. The 49ers defense, they were gassed, they were tired, they didn't have the energy, and Pat Mahomes saw that, and he took off. 21 points in the fourth quarter against this defense, many believe was the best, hands down, in the National Football League, Chris. We talked about how good Pat Mahomes is, and he didn't have a great game. You know what? Pre-game talk with myself, Brady, and Pete Prisco and Brady Quinn, they felt like Pat Mahomes, for them to win this ball game, Kansas City Chiefs, they felt like Pat Mahomes had to have his greatest ball game. And I said, well, if Pat Mahomes has a good game for most quarterbacks, if you're looking at Pat Mahomes' good games, those are great games for the average quarterback.
Yeah.
But a good game for Pat Mahomes can still win you a ball game. And we saw a good game, but in the fourth quarter, he was great.
A good quarter from Patrick Mahomes can win you ball games in the postseason, and that's what they did in every single one of these games. They went on a 41-0 run against the Texans, went on a 28-0 run against the Titans.
Sounds like basketball.
And now tonight, a 21-0 run in the fourth quarter. And I would tell you, we were sitting with all kinds of media members from all over the country and the world, and the talk was early in that fourth quarter, you know what? Maybe Patrick Mahomes isn't as great as everyone thought he was. Maybe we shouldn't have anointed this guy the next great quarterback in the NFL. This is exactly why I couldn't bet against the Chiefs, because of what we saw against the Texans and the Titans, and then what we saw tonight. They can turn it on in a blink.
Yeah, extremely explosive. And I think, you know, the best comparison I can, you know, give the Kansas City Chiefs, when the Golden State Warriors were healthy and at their highest peak, they had the ability to score at any given time because of the Splash Brothers and because of, you know, quality role guys like elite guys like Draymond Green. This team can score at any given time. We saw them take the best defense to the woodshed and chop wood.
Well, and they had some really difficult situations, Brian.
Yes, yeah.
Down 10, 3rd and 15, and Patrick Mahomes somehow finds Tyreek Hill wide open.
And looking at that formation, and I think Ward Jimmy Ward was a defender that was covering Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, if you guys can go back and watch that play, Tyreek Hill was simulating a deep over route. Now, as a defender, you know the speed you're going against. So you have to put it in last gear instantly and try to beat him to the point. But what Andy Reid did was they simulated and showed a deep over route, knowing they would be aggressive to beat Tyreek Hill at the point, and he ended up turning that into a corner route. And outstanding play call, well-designed play, because the entire ball game, Chris, up until that point, the San Francisco 49ers did a real good job keeping everything in front of them. They played the majority of the ball game with 2 high safeties, funneling everything in front of them, coming up, making a tackle. And in that one opportunity, they had the same coverage look, but what Tyreek Hill and Andy Reid was able to do, draw up an outstanding play. Tyreek Hill ran it to perfection, and that was the game-changing moment. For me, in my opinion.
Well, you said right at that moment, this is going to be one heck of a finish. Yeah. Turns out the Chiefs won by double digits. But what about that Chiefs defense and what they were able to do on the ensuing drive, pitching their first 3 and out of the game to get the ball back to the hot offense?
I would like to highlight that, like you said, because the Kansas City Chiefs, they didn't put forth their best effort. But that drive, those particular plays, they put together their best effort. But I would like to highlight and pinpoint something. Kyle Shanahan. They were able to get a 10-point lead doing what? Running the football, getting exotic with their play calls, using the run game to open up the play-action game, and they were successful. The first play, Chris, in that first 3 and out for Kansas City, the first offensive play for San Francisco was a 5-yard run. Now it's 2nd and 5. You know the clock is currently on your side. Knowing the offense you're playing against, you need to find a way to work the clock by sustaining drives. The next 2 plays were passes. If I gain 5 yards on first down, that's a win for the offense. You guys were running the football well. You had quality opportunities in the run game. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, first down play, we get 5 yards. Second down play, guess what I'm doing? I'm running the football. The second down play was an incompletion, and I think the third down play, they got pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo and was another incompletion, and that gave the Kansas City Chiefs another opportunity. And that's the thing I don't understand with sometimes when an outstanding, and I'm not saying that's the reason why they lost the ball game. I'm not saying that, but the timing of the ball game, I think it was around 6 minutes or something like that. You still had I think you had a 4-point lead, or I can't recall the score.
3-point lead.
3-point lead. I'm working the clock. I'm running the football. You had success. It'd be one thing if you didn't have success. First down, you get 5 yards, Chris, run it again. Get in a manageable third down opportunity.
What changed for not only the 49ers offense, but the Kansas City defense in the other drives in that fourth quarter as well? Because I think it was the last 4 drives, the Kansas City D really turned up the heat. San Francisco had the ball up 10 in this game after that second Patrick Mahomes interception. They allowed 1 first down, then forced a punt. That next one was the one we just highlighted where they went 3 and out. The next one, they allowed 1 first down, and I believe they ended up getting an interception. I mean, the defense really shut down the 49ers the last 4 drives of this game.
Well, you know what helped the defense for Kansas City? Their offense. When the offense started rolling, now they're excited. The morale of the team increases dramatically. The momentum shift. And they knew that because of the success and the points their offense was put on the board, that changed the DNA for San Francisco's offense. Now it's not just about preparing for the run. Now, you know what? They have to be a little more aggressive. Because number one, they didn't want to put their defense right back on the football field, being a bit fatigued, and they needed to score points. So what we saw was the success the defense had from Kansas City basically came from their offense.
How about Damien Williams in this game?
Huge.
17 carries, 104 yards, had 4 receptions for, I believe, 29 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown. Huge moments in this game.
No question. Huge moments. And you know, we talked about Damien and need for them to be successful. We felt like the running game needed to show up for Kansas City. And it's not just about running the football with Damien. He also caught the ball well out of the backfield. And he was huge, especially when Pat Mahomes was not rolling. So I think I don't know if they have announced the MVP just yet, but in my opinion, he should be the MVP of this ball game.
My opinion as well, and we'll pass that word along to you as soon as we get it. I would think that Damien Williams did enough And Brian, if you just go back to everything we've talked about the last 2 weeks, it was, can the Chiefs running game do enough? It was all about this great San Francisco run game, this running back by committee, Mostert with the 4 touchdowns in the NFC Championship game, and they're totally outshined by one back who was a nobody up until about a year and a half ago when the Kareem Hunt situation came about.
No question. I think the players that are surrounding him has really helped Damian develop as well. Because there's so many outstanding players on that offense, you just can't pinpoint and highlight one guy. I mean, Sammy Watkins was huge tonight.
Yeah.
Think about that. Sammy Watkins is usually the third option at best in this offense.
Pretty good third option to have.
A pretty good third guy that was a top 10 selection a few years back by the Buffalo Bills. So that tells you how deep this team is. And when your quarterback is like Dan Marino but more athletic, his cerebral game is where it needs to be, his confidence is where it needs to be, and you give him Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins, Mecole Hardman, and Andy Reid to work with, he showed playing in his standard, based on what we've seen in the last 2 postseason games, he had a below average game and still was deadly.
Being told that Patrick Mahomes has been named Super Bowl MVP.
It's a quarterback award.
They always give it to either quarterback or
a quarterback award.
It's been, I believe, it's been over 20 years, but 21, 22 years. Terrell Davis, I think, was the last running back to win it. I get it. I mean, he led the 2 game-winning drives. He's Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in football. You can't really go wrong, but I don't know. The 2 of us think they got it wrong.
No question, because like you said, Pat Mahomes was unbelievable in the first quarter, but we saw 2 costly interceptions, something that we haven't seen from him in the postseason. He was a bit inaccurate at times.
He recovered it.
Yeah, he had a fumble. He was a bit inaccurate at times. His target point was a bit off. Now, granted, he had a nice rush coming at him, but he picked it up when he needed to pick it up. And I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Pat Mahomes give the trip to Disney World to Damien Williams.
That wouldn't
be cool.
A bad move to make. How about when it was the Chiefs had taken the lead late in the game. 49ers had the football, had a chance.
Yep.
Jimmy Garoppolo had Emmanuel Sanders, what looked like it would have been a touchdown to put the Niners ahead with just over a minute to go, and overshot him.
Yeah, Jimmy just didn't take his time. He didn't take his time, and he rushed the throw. The pocket started to collapse, but he had enough time to get that pass to Emmanuel Sanders. And those are they're the little things. You hear all the time, football's a game of inches.
Yeah.
I mean, he overthrew Emmanuel Sanders by a few inches, and you can't miss those opportunities if you're trying to be a world champion. Pat Mahomes made those opportunities in the fourth quarter. That 3rd and 15 play to Tyreek Hill, he hit Tyreek right where he needed to hit him to be able to convert that 3rd down. Those are the plays that Jimmy Garoppolo has to make. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those are the plays that Jimmy Garoppolo has to make if he wants to consider himself an up-and-coming superstar at the quarterback position. And potentially he will get there, because I think, I know Kyle Shanahan's an outstanding play caller, and I think he will still continue to develop. But Super Bowl winning quarterbacks don't miss those throws.
He still has more rings than Patrick Mahomes. Jimmy Garoppolo won 2 Super Bowls as a backup quarterback for the Patriots. But this is the stuff legends are made of. This is where legends are born. And Patrick Mahomes, I feel, was already on his way to legendary status. He certainly had that in Kansas City. Most everybody agrees he's the best quarterback in the NFL. But leading his team back from a double-digit deficit in the fourth quarter of his first Super Bowl at the age of 24 for his team's first Super Bowl title in 50 years.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say the AFC going forward, not knowing exactly how things would change for the Kansas City Chiefs, will belong to the Kansas City Chiefs going forward.
I wouldn't want to trade places with anybody else if I'm Kansas City with that quarterback.
Because of the quarterback. He showed how much better he is than everybody else on the football field. Now, the thing is, we know this, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw this a year ago, and then this season he kind of came back down to reality, but still was outstanding. Mm-hmm. And then in the playoffs, came from behind against Houston. Then people were like, well, the Texans defense, they're not that elite. Not surprised. Again, against Tennessee, Derrick Henry came from behind against the Titans defense. Well, the defense is not that elite. And people are saying defense win championships. And I said, yes, you're right. But against this man, defense alone won't win a championship. He came from behind 21 points against the San Francisco 49ers. Nick Bosa, Ford, Armstead, Buckner, Alexander.
And those guys
Sherman,
were rolling, too.
Warner. This defense was scary good. And he came from behind with San Francisco knowing he has to throw the football. And what did he do? Made plays. He broke containment, made plays with his legs. He gave his body up. They were dialing up some nice heat. I mean, that first pivot reverse option that they scored on was unbelievable. That's when I said, yeah, Andy Reid is in his zone. He ran a reverse pivot with a pitch option as a potential player in that goal line touchdown that Pat Mahomes ran. That's a thing of beauty, a reverse pivot, and then you have a pitch man with an athletic quarterback. Andy Reid was dialing up some real nice stuff. I was really impressed with what I saw from Andy Reid, from his play calling ability. But then when you have Pat Mahomes, I mean, it's kind of easy.
Well, how about the big guy, Andy Reid, finally getting that first Super Bowl, finally getting back. He had only been to one as a head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles, gets back with Kansas City. It looks like he's going to come up short again. I heard conversations up in the press box about, geez, if he doesn't win this, maybe he's not a Hall of Fame coach.
No.
He's in now, baby.
He was a Hall of Fame coach regardless. Winning this ball game has nothing to do with Andy getting in the Hall, in my opinion. I just felt like before tonight's ball game, he was the best NFL coach to not win a championship. Now he has that title in his pocket. What's next? Because Pat Mahomes is he's 24, right?
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. They got Tyreek Hill locked, for the few years going down the line. The same can be said for Travis Kelce. Samuel Watkins said he'd be willing to take a pay cut just to stay with this team. So offensively, this team will be intact, not to mention resources to continue to add talent. Defensively, continue to grow. They got to find out what's going to happen with Chris Jones. I believe he will be franchised. And then, of course, eventually got to address Pat Mahomes' contract. But they better press forward, put all their cards in the middle of the table and say, I'm all in. Because you know when Pat Mahomes signed that $40 million per year deal, you're going to be kind of strapped for money. So while you still got Pat Mahomes on this rookie deal, you put all the chips in the table.
You pay him right now? Because the Chiefs ownership has said that they're likely going to wait at least a year to pay him. And that might take us into the new CBA, which would mean absolutely over $40 million. If you pay him now, you probably save some money.
Well, but if I'm Pat Mahomes, I don't want to be paid now. I'll wait.
Really?
Because like you said,
that's a risk, though.
That new CBA can really change the games of contracts. Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm Pat Mahomes, you guys know what I can do, right? Mm-hmm. And not thinking about any injuries or anything like that, I'm okay. Allow me to hit when that new CBA hit and the salary cap increases dramatically.
Yeah, you might be making a comeback Player of the Year award when the new CBA comes.
Yeah,
get a little bit more.
I'll try.
Cashola. That's the two-time Super Bowl champion Bryant McFadden as the Kansas City Chiefs break a 50-year drought. They come from double digits down for a third consecutive playoff game and beat the San Francisco 49ers 31-20. Patrick Mahomes, 21 unanswered to finish the game. He is your Super Bowl MVP. Back to our Stamford, Connecticut studios, Hakeem Dermish and EK, Eric Casillas.
Chris, B-Mac, thank you very much. Look, 2 interceptions by Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter. Like, there should be no argument that Patrick Mahomes is the MVP because without him, they don't win this game in the fourth quarter. He engineered these drives.
At the start
he
of the
throws 2 touchdowns. He rushed for the touchdown. Exactly. It was his MVP award to win. And at the end of the day, who cares whether he won the MVP or not? They won a frickin' Super Bowl, and it's the first in 50 years. I think sometimes we get caught up so much in who wins the Super Bowl MVP, and it's fun to talk about, and it's fun to bet on it because he was at even money and plus money in some places, so congratulations on those of you who bet on Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP. But at the end of the day,
he was even money.
Yeah, he was even money. But I know for a week, I think he was at plus 110. I think I saw it a couple spots.
About
right. But like
we're in the same ballpark.
Right, that was great. That was great. That was fantastic.
All right, so
but Damian Williams, that last touchdown, that doesn't equal you MVP status, but it did do something else.
It did go over 100 yards, and it did go over for the second half. So the second half went over on the Damien Williams touchdown. the game still was under. And as we talked about beforehand, the number that jumped out, 74% when we started the show, 77% by the time we were wrapping it up, of the wagers were on the over. And whenever you're over 72, 71%, that has to send up alarms. We screamed and yelled about this. And anytime the public is over 72% on one side, you better be really careful. Public was over 72% in the over. The under comes in. You can't be surprised there. Kansas City covers. Some of the other props that were close either way. Patrick Mahomes, he was at 300.5 yards. He comes in at 286. He was an under. Jimmy Garoppolo, 239.5. He was an under as well. Raheem Mostert, he was under. Now, Damian Williams was over.
Yep.
Over in his catches, over in his yards, over in his rushing yards.
And
so
you had his catches.
I had his catches.
Yes.
I had his catches. 3.5. Now, I know you saw something from Todd Furman, which if you know, we talk about, people always talk about bad beats and the other side of that, which someone's got to have to coin a term for that. Like crazy wins or something along.
A bad beat, fine, whatever.
No, but what if you win one of those?
Then it's a fantastic. I don't. We'll come up with it. I like to call it a winning wager, and then if I have a winning wager, I like to get winning wafers.
But I mean, if you win one, you shouldn't have won.
Right.
I won one today. I shouldn't have won. I
vultured it.
Did I vulture?
I mean, you vultured it.
I mean, this is the all-time vulture. You have Patrick Mahomes, 30.5 rushing yards. He has 44. I've already crossed that out on my little slip. I've already wondered where I'm going to get the money to pay for that. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll Venmo you alone.
And I mean, he's up by 13.5 yards. No way, you can't have a 13.5-yard loss, right?
Right.
Except, last few seconds, they're going to take a knee. He backs up 5 yards because he wants to run the clock out. Takes a knee. I don't think much of it. But I do start looking at the corner of my eye. Backs up again on second down. And now I'm starting to think, he's now 4 yards away. If he backs up 4 or 5 yards, I'm going to win it. He backs up 6 yards and finishes at 29. If you had Patrick Mahomes over 30.5 rushing yards, I feel for you. Todd Furman said it was the single worst prop beat he's ever seen in the history of the Super Bowl. I'll tell you, as somebody who has had enough bad beats, this was one I was on the right side of. Thank you.
I loved giving you a high five because we have been on that other side. We have had bad beats.
Of course, everybody
So feels great. It feels great when you finally beat the book sometimes, and you go, you know what, I won. Speaking of winning, I want to point out that our experts, and we give you the information, right? We told you 74% of the money was on the over, but our experts were telling you, they were cautioning you to be careful of that, of buying into that number. Hank Goldberg, Todd Furman, Kenny White, Tom Fornelli, who loves playing unders, played a lot of unders during college football season. They told you to go under. You cashed. They cashed.
And Hakeem Dermish told you his single best play today was Kansas City to win the game, lay in the 1.5 or 2, whatever, and that came in for you too. So another
update the Excel sheet. Update the Excel sheet.
Another good day for the Sportsline family. Hopefully it enriched you and will continue to do it. We'll also continue to do this show because we have so much more to get to. What happened? What should you take from this game? How can you use it to your advantage going forward? More on the way. Yeah, HQ.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.